Hey Vegeta, it's gonna be like old times. Only this time, I get to say when we're there.
Hey guys, MasakoX here. It's time to get back to one of our classic What If Good Boy stories, which sees one of the lackeys of Vegeta getting his due, and also getting to realize one of his biggest dreams that a lot of Dragon Ball YouTubers have failed to really properly recognize, although it was actually staring us in the face. Yes, the fact that Nappa likes to garden. Those Cybermen were just one creative outlet for this hobby, and now, thanks to him getting a chance to become a good guy and join the Dragon team in defending the Earth, this big lug will have his own garden. So, it's time for the story to continue into the last main arc of the Super Anime and ask the question once again. What if Nappa turned good? One time, Nappa was the second to Vegeta, and he had done everything he could to be somewhat of a role model and act as the support role for the prince during their time together in the Freezer Force. What did he get in return for all of his servitude? Well, almost a blast to the face when he became somewhat useless against Goku. Not even a gold watch as thanks for his efforts. Luckily for us, Goku saw some good in him and gave him the platform to not only redeem himself, but also become a true friend of the family, as well as Chi-Chi's chauffeur for a brief spell. In any case, if you've been watching the latest chapters, age has become a big factor in this guy's life. He is really very quickly approaching the time in a Saiyan's life that you don't often see when their health becomes a problem, and they essentially go the way of Joseph in part 4 of JoJo and lose all sense of themselves and their once great power. In the last part, we saw the end of the Gohan Black arc, with the fusion of Nappa from present and the one from the future to become Nappa squared, or Nappai? Well, for now, let's just go with Nappa, okay? Their personality is basically the same, only more powerful, and in Dragon Ball, power gets you a very long way, and if you're a Saiyan, doubly so. Either way, when all was said and done, even though Zamasu had been defeated, Zeno still overreacted, and the future was erased, leaving future Nappa without a home. Now fused together permanently thanks to the Potara and the Dragon Balls for additional adhesion, this Saiyan fusion has now bought itself some more time to be around his friends, and being effective, whilst giving the future version of himself at least some peace and quiet and a home for a few good years. But then you forget which part we are in, and what we might expect Goku to do. Oh boy. We resume our story a while after the fusion of the two Nappas. It's been some time since Zamasu and Black were beaten fair and square, and then Zeno settled the score less fair and square, and things have returned to somewhat normality, besides the fact that Nappa is now in stereo. That being said, the Saiyans are still being Saiyans, and they are still training despite no obvious sign that they were in danger. Since fusing, Nappa had regained some confidence, and now fused together, they're resolved to keep on training and feel like they were a valuable member of the Dragon team once again. As well as the Saiyan squad, that meant everybody felt better and less worried for him. In short, everything was coming up Nappa. This time though, the majority of the training gets done on Beerus' pyramid crib. Initially, the cat was very perturbed to have 4 of these oafish creatures here, really messing up his space. He really missed the days where he could just rest and vent his anger out alone, in peace, without mortals gunking up the works, making things louder than he would have wanted. As much as the 4 of them can become quite annoying with all of their aging and mortaliness, they did have their upsides. Beerus had a weakness, and that was to do, obviously, with gastronomy, but not always from Bulma's kitchen. For this latest stint of training post-Black, Beerus got successfully bribed by some particularly nice homemade cookies made by Cafe. It all stemmed from this one time Nappa was eating said cookie, and Beerus took an interest. He simply swiped it from Nappa's hand and took a bite, and he liked what he tasted.
These, what you call it, kukais are divine. Who made these? Was it Bulma? No, my girlfriend, Lord Beerus. Interesting. A delightful change of pace to Vegeta's woman's offerings. It does taste very different, but in a good way. From this day forth, every time you come here, you must bring these, kukais.
Nappa's a little nervous, but so long as the gang get to keep training without any worries, then that's what matters. When he gets back and tells Cafe the news, she feels a mix of pressure as well as a bit of that Saiyan pride rubbing off on her from being with Nappa, obviously. She jokingly states that this is the only thing she's good at when it comes to food. Don't let me near a souffle, or else you might find you'll even have less hair than before. She's joking, but I think she's semi-serious. She's even allowed to accompany Nappa to training sessions, provided she brings some of those baked goods as well while she's there to keep Beerus happy. Whis even takes an interest in watching her prepare these treats on the planet. You know what? I never really thought about the actual making of these treats. It's rather fascinating how laborious it all can be, and yet it feels so satisfying. Whilst the cookies bake and the Saiyans train, Cafe offers to paint Beerus's portrait as well.
Cooking and creativity? That Nappa has picked quite the docile and very talented one. Usually these Saiyans choose such loud companions for support. Good for Nappa and good for me.
He takes a bite out of a cookie while saying this. Now, you might be wondering which 4 Saiyans are training. Well, I've got a surprise for you this time. There is a surprise mission from these sessions. Surprisingly, Goku's missing. He hasn't been seen on Beerus' world for weeks. The ones who are training the most with Whis and Beerus right now are Nappa, Gohan, Goten, and Vegeta. At first, Whis wasn't all that bothered because with these 4, they were mostly compliant, they did what they were told to do, and they were somewhat receptive to instruction, unlike Goku sometimes, who could get a little bit irksome when it comes to learning stuff. However, after several no-shows, even Whis was getting a little concerned. This is starting to get a little bit alarming. Goku may get irritating, but he was by far the most enthusiastic of the bunch, at least. Whis was actually beginning to miss that. As for the Saiyans themselves, they tried to shrug this off as, oh, it's nothing to worry about, like Goku was just taking a break finally from training. Vegeta laughs and says that this was the biggest oddity he had ever seen since he returned to the regular world. Even Nappa found that amusing, and he usually didn't indulge this Vegeta's contributions, but this time, he chose to make an exception. Despite Nappa's renewed vigor, our heroes still take some time to adjust to Fuse Nappa, whose behavior is a little bit different than the regular Nappa's was that they knew. Goten is the most aware of these changes.
Hey Uncle Nappa, why did you stop using some of your old techniques?
Nappa's a little self-conscious about this, but chooses to be honest with his favorite nephew.
Well, you know, Goten, my eyelashes are not what they used to be. Since getting much stronger than I was under Frieza's rule and gaining this new power as well, it turns out that some of the stuff I learned back in the day was not as good as I thought it was. It's time to change things up, you know?
Whilst watching Nappa's mood change, Cafe tries to be brave about this sudden development. Even she can feel that Nappa's a little bit distant. He's still a pretty caring partner, but she can't help but worry and think for the future. Are these changes going to get even more pronounced than before? Is this Nappa slowly turning into someone she doesn't recognize and may no longer love? She struggles to shake these feelings off, but just to run away right now before even giving this new Nappa a chance, that would break his heart. And he needs someone in his final years. He needs a companion, and she isn't a cruel person by nature, and he does provide some much needed relief for her as well. Well, okay. Let's just say that this all takes time to get used to. Don't worry, she's not about to up sticks. One day, after a particularly exhausting training session, the group returned to Goku's place to drop off Goten, only to be warned by Chi-Chi that someone is after Goku's life. Hence why Goku hasn't been at training lately. He's barely been around even. He isn't usually so paranoid whilst at home. Chi-Chi is getting very anxious about this, that maybe the Frieza Force are back to try and get their revenge and doing it stealthily this time. This, quite understandably, alarms Nappa, Gohan and Goten, whilst Vegeta decides the best thing for him to do is to head back to Capsule Corp to check if his benefactors, Bulma and Yamcha, are safe. Now this doesn't mean that he cares for them per se, but they certainly provide good living conditions for him. He wants to keep it that way. The group then tried to sense his ki and noticed that Goku's energy reading is much lower than usual, barely registering. It becomes clear that Goku is safe, but he's obviously laying low, hiding himself from anyone who can sense ki. Whoever this enemy is, they must be somewhat powerful for Goku to go to such measures to stay safe. They decide to go to Kami for help and guidance. Once they get there, things start to become clear. Quickly, they discover that Goku is fighting someone, and that someone is Hit. He seems to be after their friend's life. Did someone put a call out on Goku? This greatly concerns Goten because he really sort of idolized Hit in a way, and this is infuriating Gohan and Nappa. The three rush to help, but they're too late. They find Goku on the ground, motionless. Well, okay, not exactly, as the whole ki blast thing from up top happens as it does in the original. I will say though, right here and now, that was actually a really cool idea and a good backup plan for Goku. Before Goku can actually explain why Hit was after him and calm everyone down, the three Saiyans rush after Hit.
Wait, guys, it's not like that. Listen to me. Oh man, I hope Hit doesn't hurt him.
What our heroes are also not aware of is that they are being watched by Champa and Vados from afar. When they confront the Merc from Universe 6, he states that he doesn't have any beef with them, and that they shouldn't get in the way of his mission. He spots Goten looking particularly perturbed and blinded with fury. Hit sighs. I thought you were much less driven by your emotions, young one. You sadden this, old man. This knocks Goten for a loop from his senses, and he then feels very guilty for making someone disappointed in him. At the same time, Hit is surprised to see that Goku had survived their encounter. In this moment of distraction, the other three Saiyans rush Hit. During this encounter, Nappa packs the strongest punches, which astounds Hit. He wasn't aware of the fusion right now, it had taken place earlier, while Gohan was the most technical. Hit was very impressed with the gains that these Saiyans had had since their last meeting at the Universe 6 tournament, but nevertheless, they still could not skip time. When it comes to time skips, Hit still had the advantage. I mean, that is to say he would have, but somehow, one of these monkeys had actually surprised him. Goten managed to predict most of his moves, taking his attention long enough for Nappa to land a powerful strike on the Merc and knocking him down. This fight's getting pretty exciting, and it seems that Hit is actually enjoying it. Goku is less happy about this obviously, as he doesn't seem to be invited to the fray. Instead of moping though, he discovers the watching Vados and Champs, and decides to hang out with them. Finally, all of the fighters except Gohan and Hit are down, due to exhaustion. But before Gohan can charge up an ultimate attack against a weakened Hit, whose time skips had reduced out of exhaustion, Vados and Goku call the whole thing off, telling everyone that it's alright and that Hit isn't here to end them all. The Angel then reveals that it was Goku who ordered Hit to hit him in the first place, and since Goku was dead for a few seconds, he had carried out his order, and all was well. Now, unlike the original, Gohan is very angry with his father. He really gets in his father's grill about how reckless he had been. Even Goten, who's usually quite placid, gets in on this anger, saying that he could have left Chi-Chi all alone just for the sake of a challenge. This was frivolous. Nappa puts the final nail in said figurative coffin.
You can't play with people's feelings like that, Goku. It's just not right.
Now this causes Goku to apologize, as he begs everyone not to tell Chi-Chi. They won't, for now. Hit, in that moment, formally recognizes the power of the three Saiyans, showing particular endearment towards Goten for being able to predict his time skips. Now, Gohan though, even though he was the last one up, he's still kind of salty, but he still shakes Hit's hand. He states that he will never fully accept such an evil profession, but he is still pleased to see that Hit has at least some kind of honor. It can't be all that bad. Hit exclaims that this is all he asks for. Well, Son Goku, it seems that we are going to have our serious fight some other time. As for now, I see that Saiyans from Universe 7 are a force to be reckoned with. Next time, I promise to put on a better show for you. Which gives Champa the thought that he needs to work on his own batch of Saiyans so as to annoy his brother. If these three were able to keep up with Hit, and are known to train a lot, imagine the possibilities. Our heroes are unaware that for all this time, they were being watched by the two Zenos, who really enjoyed that encounter. They want more. They want the tournament, and they can use it to also test some other mortals. Time passes, and the Saiyans continue to train. Vegeta is pretty frustrated by the lack of any visible progress in himself, whilst the others are going from strength to strength. He tells Nappa that he could probably go Super Saiyan 3 at this point of his training, but he considers this form to be quite useless. Nappa laughs and tells Vegeta that he tried it once as present Nappa, and it looked pretty ridiculous. His beard was longer than his entire body.
Well, I'm still miles behind Kakarot, his brat, or even you. I'm glad that I at least was able to get stronger than his youngest brat. Imagine how smug he would be if he knew that.
Oh, Vegeta, you love this kid, really? Come on! Think of how good he makes us Saiyans look.
Don't tell him that.
Surprisingly, everyone gets called to the Kai planet for an important announcement, where the GP has some exciting news. the Tournament of Power. After the initial hype ebbs away, our heroes quickly realize and become pale at the fact, hearing actually in detail about the whole universal erasure thing. That seems a little bit extreme. Goku and Gohan need to come up with a team fast. So yeah, this time around, Goku isn't entirely to blame for this tournament occurring, which we think is a little bit refreshing, given the fact that in previous scenarios we've just stuck with the old same thing. This time around, it's the Omni Kings who choose to act on their own. We're throwing Goku a bone here, he was feeling bad enough. The first members that come to their mind are, of course, Nappa, Goten, the younger Kami, and Vegeta, and the androids, which would give them 8 fighters in total. But where to find 2 more very strong fighters? I mean, Krillin and Roshi are eager to help and join the team, but after what they saw with Hit, who according to Whis isn't even in the strongest of the universes, they obviously get a bit worried. Goku looks at Gohan and Nappa.
I have an idea, but you're probably not gonna like it.
And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think? How will Nappa take this news about a potential new member? Will the tournament occur in the same way as we see before? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!